Hi guys, I'm Charmaine with Pastoring the Executive, and today we're going to talk about communication. But specifically, we're going to talk about what do you do when you're frustrated with communication with your boss. Maybe the communication is lacking, or the communication is just cloudy, or you're just frustrated because they don't get back to you in a timely fashion. So, we're going to discuss 3 ways today to close that gap in communication. Stay tuned. Be sure to check out our website, pastoringtheexecutive.com, for more helpful tips like this. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the 3 helpful ways to form effective communication with your boss or your leader. Number 1 is learning their preferred communication method. There's so many different ways to communicate these days, and learning the way that your boss likes to communicate is important. Is it via email? Is it via text, instant message, chat? Are they more old school? Do they prefer you to walk into their office and come face to face? Or do they prefer a quick phone call? Or if you're a virtual assistant like I am, do they prefer a quick Zoom meeting or FaceTime so they can see you? So learning this is very important because this will help with the response time. So say for instance, your executive or your boss is not a person who prefers email, and you email them something. Well, you probably won't get a response that quickly from them. But say they're a person that always has their phone on them and you send them a quick text, most likely that response time is going to be quicker. So learning which way they like to communicate, what method they like to use, is really important in getting a quicker response time from them. Number 2, details. Details are important because they provide clarity and leave less room for miscommunication or confusion. And also, who wants to be guessing what you're asking them to do? And so there's 2 things that I like to follow: instructions and time frames. As a leader or an executive, they're thinking the overall goal. They're thinking at a higher level. They're thinking about the creative, the ideal. They're usually the visionary. So they're not necessarily thinking about the details to get there. So as the executive assistant, you're really helping them fill in the gap from A to Z with the details. And so there's 2 things that I like to follow: is instructions and time frames. When I'm asking for something from my boss, I like to send instructions. What exactly am I asking him to do? And then within the instructions, I'm providing a clear, all of the details and all of the information that he needs in order to complete this task for me. And then I follow it up with an expectation. What is the time frame in which I need this by? So by doing those 2 things, it'll really help with clear communication and effective communication. Number 3, I call it the follow-up nudge. Basically, you're just kind of like nudging your executive or your boss, reminding them that you need something from them. So follow-up is super important for the executive assistant. In the executive assistant's role, it is super important. You're basically like a human clock reminder, walking around constantly, following up and reminding. And so it is very important in the executive assistant's role for the follow up and the follow through. Following up, if you didn't get a response back, is very important so that things don't slip through the cracks. And your boss, your executive, I know my boss appreciates it because a lot of times, because there is so much going on, they don't intentionally not respond. It's just that they're super busy. And so you kindly helping them out and following up with them. And in your follow up, you're going to reiterate the first 2 steps I talked about. You're going to choose their communication method, and then you're going to follow back up with the details and the time frame in which you need it by. And so you're just walking through those steps again. And I'll tell you, they really do appreciate you following up and following through with things. I hope these 3 helpful tips can help you cultivate effective communication with your boss or your leader. I'm going to challenge you to take what you've learned today, the 3 steps of choosing the preferred communication method, details, using instructions and time frames, and then the follow-up nudge, following up and following through with your boss, and see if those 3 doing those three things make a difference. Um, until next week, I'll see you next week on another video. Until then, may your week be blessed.